Hello, everyone. On our podcast show this week, we are starting a new season because the last few weeks, we haven't been around. I don't know if you've noticed it at all, but thank you all 500 plus of you guys for tuning in and hopefully wondering where the heck did we go?
We've been busy.
Well, we've been busy, and for a number of reasons, we haven't been around as much as we wanted to, but hopefully that becomes more clear over the coming weeks, because last month we were actually both in Taiwan for the Computex show. So we have some things to share with you over the next few weeks as we uncover what has happened at Computex, including the AI Next thing.
AI Next.
Next. I don't think we didn't talk too much about AI per se. We talked a lot more about AI last year, but you'll hear a little bit more about that. Last month would have been our anniversary for the podcast show. We are now on season 11.
11.
Yes.
Wow. Congrats.
Picking up season 11, and that would have been our third year of our podcast show, I believe. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
We're on our third year.
So our third year anniversary was last month, and we took a little break just to kind of get things going and everything. And again, we'll share why in the next coming weeks.
Oh,
okay.
By the way, I'm not wearing glasses because I want to look cool. I had an eye infection. It's actually not an infection, more of an allergy. My eye was swollen. So I'll give you an idea. Look, it's like, I
said that you should wear a pirate patch. If you're going to be an uncle, you should have a pirate patch.
Oh, it'd be like Nick Fury.
Nick Fury, because you're from the Hakka tribe, you should actually play up the gangster vibe with eye patch, right?
Eye patch.
And you should tell people, I lost my eye
during Computex.
During Computex in this bar fight.
The bar fight.
So anyway, we're going to cover off what to expect in the upcoming season. We're also going to share some tips and tricks for longevity, some of the things that worked for us, some of the things that don't, and maybe if we remember, because there's been a lot of episodes, our favorite show of the last season. So why don't we start with something that we learned from doing podcast this past year?
Well, podcasts can be done anywhere. I noticed that. Right, whether you're out in doing like conferences, trade shows, even in this room, we actually moved our positioning. So with a mobile kind of device mixer unit and with power bank, I was surprised that you can actually power this Rodecaster with a power bank. But you can. And of course, mics could be positioned anywhere you want, as long as you got good lighting, which, as you noticed with this podcast, the lighting's a little bit better because we positioned ourselves slightly different, right?
Yeah, I think the main reason why is because we're not fighting the environment. We're actually using the environment to our advantage because the window is over here. I don't know if any of you have noticed, but in previous podcasts when we're over there, we always have Winston completely blown out because he's sitting by the window. We're just not going to fight it. We're going to use the environment to our advantage. And we're going to utilize all of the light that we have. Yeah. And we've also got an amazing tool this year. We've got the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which is actually an automatic device. And we have, do we have a guest?
It came in and it came out. I
have no idea who that was. But anyhow, we had the guest there. I'm not sure who that was. But hopefully they decided, these guys are doing something here and we should probably go away. Stuff happens, right? I think one of the things that, since we've had that happen there, adaptability. We've had to adapt to a lot of different things like schedule, family, and whatnot. Having to do the podcast show, we have adapted a 2-show, 2, maybe even 3-show cadence when we do get together. So if we get together, we're doing 2 to 3 shows. And we've done one other thing to make sure that we are still fresh. We've actually limited our shows to 30 minutes.
It's true. We decided to go for that because it's nice and short, but also it's more focused as well. And it's less time to kind of like, organize and everything, right? Because at the podcast we did at Computex, it was rather than an hour long, it was shortened up to 30 minutes.
That's right.
25, 30
minutes.
Under 30. Yeah, under 30. And it worked way better.
Actually, we discovered that maybe that was a good way to go because there was actually a hardware limitation in terms of editing on the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I don't know if anyone has noticed this, but if you do a long recording past 30 minutes, the file will cut, but it will also leave a lag. It'll start to drift. The file will start to drift. So by 30 minutes, the audio track no longer synchronizes. So that's why we also want to keep the 30 minutes so that our podcast will actually synchronize with the Roadcaster and the video that you see there easily. Because we did notice that any show that was past 30 minutes, 31, 32, it had this drift at the end so that the beginning would always be off and the end would always be off.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So under 30 minutes is a good kind of slot.
It's peppy.
Yeah, it's nice. It's easier to manage. It's easier to manage.
Yeah.
Rather than a full on 1 hour, 30 minutes. It's just a little bit too long. I think 30 minutes is good. Yeah.
So how about our planning? Have we changed that in any way, or have we just gotten better at talking about things than just getting going?
Yeah, I think over the years that we've done the podcast, it comes naturally. It's practice and also just do those more podcasts. So the more podcasts you do, the more natural you get, kind of thing.
Yeah, I still think that we should. Folks out there should be doing a rundown. That just focuses the conversation a lot better. Like, for example, if we're doing a rundown of the latest WWDC would be coming up very, very soon as this podcast goes up.
True.
We would actually have to go through on a rundown to talk about the latest things, what Apple's announced. Even Google I/O, we kind of missed that, unfortunately. We'll revisit that later on, but we want to make sure that like when we're covering in-depth topics like that, we want to have a little bit of extra content on that and also focus.
That's true.
So still very important. Still also a good idea to keep track of all your seasons, everything on a spreadsheet. I know that Winston and I have not been doing that lately, but we have been doing it on YouTube. We've been using the playlist.
That's right.
Categories,
and also,
everything.
The highlights on the timestamps, because that also then focuses on each part of the podcast, so you can actually focus straight into that little topic area.
That's right.
That helps.
So let's talk about we're keeping an eye on the time is actually a very important thing as well too. It's something that we didn't really do in the beginning, but I think that this is something that we learned that we have to do.
Yeah,
like we're already about 7 minutes into this podcast right now, and you're watching at home. You're probably looking at the time and everything. Probably 1.5 speed on us. So we sound like chipmunks. But keeping an eye on the time and moving on to the next topic is also very, very important, right? So I think that's something that we've gotten much, much better on, especially because we have this constraint of 30 minutes. We have to hit 30 minutes. We also have to watch the clock. We also have to make sure that we don't go over 31 minutes. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to chop in the middle of the video and reconnect the end of it because it's out of sync. So there's a lot more work. So if we want less work, and I think a lot of you folks out there also have little time, but you still want to do a podcast, the less work that you do, the more podcasts you will do.
And I'll tell you a little bit about the less work in a bit, what I learned from Computex to do with AI.
Hey, speaking of that, let's talk a little bit about Computex in terms of, now, we've got some interviews coming up, and they're not going to be very product focus. So I think for the next 10 minutes or so, hey, look at that. We're going to talk to you 10 minutes about Computex and everything that we saw that was pretty cool. Computex 2025, which just happened in Taipei, Taiwan. It was at the Nangang Exhibition Center, which is in Nangang. This is a place that has actually grown so much that our hotel that we used to stay at is now 3 times the price.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. I was going to book it. And I thought, what? It's double the price. And I looked again a week before, it's like triple the price.
It was a fantastic hotel. It was literally walking distance.
But they also built a new hotel.
Oh, yeah. The Grand Hila.
Grand Hila. Yeah. That one was with the InWin, had the 40th anniversary. Right. Yeah. So that is actually going to be, I would guess, I wouldn't say replaced, but remember some of the vendors were at the Grand Hyatt, the city center. I think some of them moved to the Grand Lehigh, which is the new hotel right next to the exhibition center. So,
and speaking of all that, too, if you guys aren't tuned into the show, Computex has just gotten really, really big. Nangang is full, left and right, because there's 2 halls, right? They're right across the street from each other, and it's gotten so big that Taitra, the organization that actually helps put on the show, their exhibition division has actually decided to take the show and add a 3rd campus. And that 3rd campus is going to be the original Taiwan Trade Center, which is in near Taipei City Hall. And they're going to be putting it back on the map as a venue that you can go to see other types of innovations. I don't know what it is that they're going to put there, but they're now starting to sell floor space for next year. So it'll be interesting how they're going to position that space.
So the original trade center back in the day was the original one, and it's gonna get. It was old now. It was like it was built in the 80s, I think.
It's older, but they're
And then-
refurbishing it
That's
right now.
That's right, and so that's why it was compact and small. But then that's why they moved to Nangang, the new hall, right?
Yeah.
I would say new, but it's been there about 15, 20 years. Now it's over capacity because they have to open hall 2, which was never really a hall 2, was mostly for conference speeches and press releases
I
and
never
stuff
really
like that.
went there.
And we never really
No.
went there, but they opened that for exhibitors.
And it was full.
It was completely full,
Yeah.
and that's probably why they want to do the original trade center, doing the refurbishment and everything. So that's going to be happening probably next year, maybe.
It's going to be next year because they're also celebrating the opening of a brand new. I only know this because I have a friend there, and we actually had an impromptu tour because I surprised her. I actually went and surprised her with a gift and everything. I haven't seen this person in over. She was first of all, she was the first person to send me to Computex under what was known as about 2004 as the media barter program. It was the very first time that
they invited media, right?
web
website.
media was considered press, and they wanted people to write about them and put it on the internet.
Yeah.
So that was a bold move. Walter Ye, who was the director of the show back then, he's since passed away. Rest in peace, Walter. He wanted these initiatives to go forward to build the next generation of the show, and these were a number of things that they wanted to implement. And the person there that helped me out, I went to visit her because I wanted to personally thank her for actually opening my eyes to Computex. Because as a computer journalist, media person, you don't know what you don't know, and you also have to go to the birthplace of computers, and that is Taiwan.
Yeah.
Right?
We've actually, when I went there this year, we saw a couple of new media people that we know. First time.
Yes. Yeah.
He enjoyed it. Yeah. And also there was a lot more influencers / TikTokers, that kind of stuff, content creators.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them now.
That was an ASUS thing that they were doing. The ASUS flew a lot of people out there. I noticed a lot of faces from Canada. They're regular media. They actually had them on the tour as well too. And that was really great to see that Computex and also the vendors out there, the larger vendors, are taking this type of attention seriously. Yeah. Because if you don't have that type of attention, your brand literally disappears and dies. Yeah,
it's social media marketing is becoming a really, really, really big business now.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think that one of the things that I remember back then is that when I started going to my second or third year into the media barter program, I actually was in a video with a certain short king, Linus. And during that meeting with him, because we were doing a promo with Kingston Technology, since they had this fast new XMP memory, and I had just won the world PC building championships.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I built a PC in under 4 minutes and 9 seconds. And they wanted me to show how fast the memory is in this promo, which was silly at the time, but I was there. And I actually asked Linus, like, hey, are you going to Computex? And he's like, what's that? He didn't even know. But now he's the biggest celebrity at Computex, right? So that's so cool to see people, going to where the motherland of PC is. And because he's like the computer guy, seeing him just thrive in that space, it's so cool to see.
He's doing a lot more other content, including visiting the local PC shops outside.
I love that.
And then he's actually building a PC there
and giving it away to some random kid on the street. Yeah, and he has to put it on his bike, and this PC just I don't know what to do with this PC, but thank you.
Yeah, they have an area called Guanghua. It's like a computer city. It's like 2 tower blocks where they have computers like all the way up to 6 floors.
Yeah, it's basically like a micro center, but you stack 20 of them on top of each other. It's about the same. About the same, right? So if you're familiar with micro center, you're familiar with Canada computers in Canada, that's basically that, but many, many, many times bigger. And it's a building, and it has like Samsung store and ROG store and Thermaltake store. It's all built in.
Well, one thing I didn't like over the last few years with Computex is that there wasn't many places to eat. But this year, because they opened a new hotel, it's a shopping center as well.
Oh yeah,
and downstairs they had the food court, so that's good. Because
yeah.
then if you're hungry, you just walk across the road to the hotel, down the shopping center, and then you have all the food court.
They also opened the new 7-Eleven that is also downstairs in
nice.
the other hall. I didn't realize it was there. Someone told me that, oh, I'm downstairs in the 7-Eleven. I was like, what do you mean 7-Eleven?
Where?
I've always seen it at street level. But no, across the street in Nangang, at the second hall now, they have another 7-Eleven.
Right.
And if you know Konbini, which is actually a Japanese term for convenience store, Japanese convenience stores, 7-Eleven, Family Mart, those are all in Taiwan as well too.
Everywhere.
And the quality is just the same. Like egg sandwiches, I had so many of those. It wasn't even funny. Yeah. People fly to Japan for those. You can also fly to Taiwan for that.
Yeah.
They have them there as well too.
It's a good experience this year. Like I said, AI next is the next.
Let's unpack that a little bit. Yeah. What did you see that was AI enabled that actually really impressed you?
You talked about having AI control your PC, like PC's health and temperature.
Yeah.
They're starting to do that now. So MSI had a computer where a touchscreen in the front.
Yeah.
It's almost like Star Trek, touchscreen. Press the AI button and you just ask it or you tell it like what's the current temperatures and stuff like that, and he'll just tell it. You just tell the computer, oh, could you lower my temperature to 30 to 34 degrees, whatever, ambient. And then he'll do it.
But doesn't that simply make sense, right? I mean, I know that there's a lot of overclockers out there. They want to experiment and take things to the limit. I mean, there's a market for this because a lot of people don't want to do that. They just want to make sure that their PC's running 100% all the time.
Exactly. And you don't have time to mess around with the BIOS. You just tell the computer, I want extra speed, and they'll do it for you. I want more frame rates, and they'll do it for you.
Yeah.
And things like that. I don't want this RGB lighting. Could you turn it off? And then it'll just do it for you.
And I think one of the things too is that as you're interfacing with the PC differently, like it's no longer keyboard and mouse, it's actually voice now. Or just a touchscreen interface, or just typing into the onboard PC AI that you're interacting with. It's giving you directives that actually help you pinpoint what your next upgrade will be. So if your gaming performance is down and you only have 16 gigabytes of RAM and a GPU that's from 2022, you might need an upgrade.
And also notice a lot more visuals now. I mean, like monitors, they go in QD OLED, like quantum dot, and they do it like back in the day. 4K monitors were expensive, right? It's come down in price. It come down in price.
You get them for like $200.
$200 to $300, you can get a 4K monitor. But also they'll do high refresh rate. The Asus or Asus demoed a gaming monitor at 610 hertz refresh rate.
Wait, hold on. Wasn't that one only 1080p though?
1080p for the gaming, esports only, right?
Okay.
But generally, at high resolution, I think the highest they do, I think I was at the ASRock booth, they had like 480 hertz. Yeah, 480 hertz of 4K.
Okay.
That's good.
Now for the lay people out there, why do you want such a high refresh rate? Like what does it do for you?
They say it improves like gaming response times and stuff like that, which I guess, is good. Visually, you don't get that blur anymore kind of thing. And also, I guess I don't really need a high refresh rate. What I want is high resolution so I can do my video work and stuff like that. But it does help if you do a little bit of gaming, I guess. Response time is faster.
Yeah.
And with the quantum dot, you get true blacks.
Okay.
So there's no gray, like glary or blurry pictures.
Blacks are black. Whites are white, and everything is not weird. Like modeled.
Yeah. So the specs I just told you about, if you were going to get that like 2-3 years ago, it would have cost you like well over $1,000.
$2,000.
Yeah, well over. But now they come down in price a lot. So in fact, you can get a 4K monitor at 27-inch.
Wow.
Whereas that was never heard of because you don't get 4K at 27-inch. It's 27-inch is too small, but they're able to fit it in there. But eyes won't strain either. So
I've got this 24-inch BenQ. It was one of the first what was it? G-Sync?
G-Sync, okay.
G-Sync monitors out there. It's 240 hertz.
Oh wow.
Right? It was one of the first models to do that. Still good to the day. It's only 1920 by 1080, but like when you're playing Fortnite, it doesn't really matter. Seriously, it doesn't really matter. And it's only running a 3060 Ti anyway, which is all I can afford because Jensen wants so much more money for his GPUs. And speaking of Jensen, mini GTC Taipei was actually happening at the same time.
Yeah, I was surprised because I thought like you had the GTC event in San Jose.
That's a very expensive one.
Yeah, and then I wouldn't have thought they would have done something similar at Computex, but they did.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a scaled down version, but again,
It was a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
But they were still selling GPUs out of the back of a truck. You know,
Again,
like they actually had them in stock, and they were actually $2,000. And you can 5090 Ti, $2,000. You can get one right away.
Wow. Okay. 5090s.
You know, so they sold out almost immediately because a lot of people from the mainland would buy them. And
I noticed with AI and everything, I asked someone about it, and it says, "Oh yeah, it's to do with the VRAM. So the more VRAM you have, the better." And so I'm seeing even lower end graphics card with like 16 gigabytes and 24 gigabytes of VRAM, and these are like Intel Arc.
Yeah, this is where Intel's getting back into the game, right?
Yeah.
Our friend Vivian Lian leads the Intel graphics division, and they're putting on their Intel Arc Pros up to 24 gigabytes of VRAM, which is fantastic. And if you think about it, that's basically where the AI lives when it's running. So the more you have, the more data points that you can actually have in memory.
And with those cards, because they're not like serious GPUs, they don't overheat or anything like that. You can actually, because they're single card single slot solutions. That means you can actually get a motherboard. If you have like enough PCIe slots, you can put a load of them in there, and then have your AI workloads, your LLMs and stuff like that working continuously, no problem with.
Very economical.
Yeah. So it's a way of actually increasing your AI workloads if you wanted to.
Let's look at the price differential, right? Intel Battle Mage Arc Pro is probably what, $700
ish. Yeah.
Okay, so you can buy 3 of them for the price of a 5090.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. And performance wise, again, it's all based on VRAM.
Yeah.
The GPU, of course, helps, but the more VRAM you have, the better.
Yeah, in some applications, that definitely helps. The GPU obviously helps as well, too. Obviously, that's why they're desoldering them from all the 5090s and putting out on new cards. But that's another story. But like Jensen's cards are the gold standard. But the fact that Intel's coming out from not nowhere, but they've had that technology for a while. They can run. They can run a lot more parameters because you also got DeepSeek out there. That's very efficient, right? If you had DeepSeek running on a 24 gigabyte VRAM GPU, it would run very, very fast, and you would get a lot of you would have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. It's an affordable solution, maybe a different alternative solution to not just have Nvidia.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Nvidia, Jensen also let out of the bag that they are doing their new Constellation headquarters. In Taiwan.
That's right. Yeah.
So
they're gonna have
they're landing it there.
Yeah. Is that the complete Nvidia office going over?
There's a new Nvidia office,
part
of their Constellation. So it's going to be built. It's going to be huge. It's going to be wow. It's going to be in the place they picked the site. I think it's a little bit hard to get to, but I think
is it down the south of the island?
It's near the. It's got jungle.
All right. Yeah. So it's almost
kind of out of the way.
Yeah, you can't get there.
We didn't expect
got choppers.
Like we literally didn't expect it, but I think that because they're putting a campus there, they're going to build an infrastructure as part of the deal, because people don't want huge structures in the middle of nowhere, right? Because it just messes with the vegetation and everything. There's a lot of things to talk about there, right? So if they're going to put something in there, then NVIDIA has to give back to the community. And if they can give them more subway stops, light rail over there,
like infrastructure,
highway,
transportation,
right?
Yeah.
Because there's no way, like it's not convenient for the staff to get there right now.
Yeah, and they'll probably have like campuses and or like what you call staff accommodation and stuff like that.
They're gonna have to build out a town.
Put it there.
That's
right. Yeah, that's what.
Or extend the town.
Didn't like Foxconn did something similar in China where they have like just factories and then like accommodation for all the staff, and it's in the middle of nowhere and stuff like that. So
it's funny because at GTC, Jensen said that San Jose is getting too small for us. We're gonna have to expand. So I wonder if this is the blueprint for the expansion of maybe San Jose, because they could use a little bit of help there, or maybe this was a cheaper alternative because of political climate. Is that Taiwan would be a better place for something like this because of the stability of the government, right?
Yeah, I guess.
That's a possibility as well too. I'm just speculating. Like I don't know what goes through Jensen's head. Some people do. I definitely don't.
Yeah.
But I know he likes Denny's.
Denny's.
That's all I got.
Yeah. Talking about, of course, GPUs and everything, with PCs and that is always going to be that temperature, that overheating and stuff like that. So there was a lot more AIO coolers this year as well.
Yeah, I think the time of the air cooler is ending.
Yeah.
And I think that, you're going to see a lot more AIO and alternatives, like from our friends at Noctua. We love them to death. Their fans are amazing, but their condensation loop.
Yeah, the thermal siphon. Yeah, concept.
Going to have to go to market next year.
Yeah, it's basically a large vapor chamber.
Yes.
And I didn't realize they actually have liquid inside.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
it evaporates and then it comes back. It's like the weather. It's like rain.
That's right. And it's got a little ecosystem inside, right?
Yeah. So, that's going to happen for a lot of different players out there. I mean, yeah, they're going to be relegated to the low end because I'm seeing a brand like there's a new brand, Sama.
Oh, Sama?
Yeah, they're coming out with all these cases. They look great.
Yeah.
They're a little bit cheaper if you're looking at a premium case, but they look great. Mm-hmm. And they're going to do the job, right? And their coolers, they're huge, they're great. They also have AIOs and everything. All the features are there. People are going to really be excited about the next generation of value hardware. So at least in the DIY,
with the current tariff situation,
I know, and like with lower prices and better looking hardware from players like Sama, like we met them at Computex. It was their first year there. They're one of the biggest manufacturers in China.
They're like OEM on.
They're OEM in China, but they're coming out with a new brand name. A friend of ours introduced us to them, and we're very impressed with what they had to come up with because. I guess some of the pricing of some of the cases and was bang on because I'm like, you know what? You've got to be $10 less than the competition for this style of case. And I was really, really close on a lot of them. And I was very surprised. And they've even got platinum power supplies, $119 for a 1,000-watt unit.
1,000-watt platinum.
Yeah.
That's cheap.
Yeah, that's really cheap.
Platinum series, most of the ones I've seen, well over $200+.
And you know what? When I was looking at it, I could tell that it was inside was what they're going for. The outside was just a little bit No, it wasn't as built as well.
All right.
So what was
aesthetically, it wasn't that.
Yeah, but once you hide it inside a PC case, you don't see anymore, right? So does that really matter?
Yeah, that's true.
As long as the cap's there, the PCB looks good, everything's solid on the inside. It's just mounted in a steel case. It's going to be mounted in another steel case, which is your case. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so we're going to be expecting to see a little bit more value-oriented products. They've already got an Amazon store starting up.
Yeah,
so we're going to see a lot more great-looking cases, great-looking coolers that are air and also AIO.
Another thing, Racing Cockpit simulator frames.
Yeah.
They're big. I mean, they've been around for a few years, but then suddenly this year, everybody's going for them.
Yeah, I think that Thermaltake really shook the market when they brought them out at CES. Because they also started a entire league in Thailand.
Yeah.
That they're doing racing
league,
sims, right?
Yeah.
And I just watched the Gran Turismo Sony movie, and I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe this is the second coming. I mean, PCs are more powerful. The simulations with AI and everything and physics so much more realistic. The next gamer might be a PC gamer, and it might be just enough that they're going to be graduating into the F1.
The good thing about about the Thermaltake take on the cockpit simulators is that you can actually just buy the frame by itself first, and then you can add all your other bits after, like the actuators, the all that kind of motor stuff, motorized jiggy things, and then also the wheel. You can actually get their own wheel. It's just slightly cheaper because the Thrustmaster ones and the other ones they're like expensive.
They're very expensive.
Well over $400-$500.
But you can do that though. You can choose to mount those if you want.
Exactly. You can do that later on, or if your budget's tight, you can actually get those later on. It's just modular and very accessible. Whereas some of the frames previously, like 2-3 years ago, you get the whole thing and it costs well over $4-5 grand, right?
You just need the space for it.
Yeah, you need the space for it. Yeah, but definitely something happening there with the new frames and that. So
to recap, we got GTC inside Computex. Computex is growing. GTC, Nvidia is putting a new constellation inside Taiwan now. It's going to be a huge headquarters. It's going to be like the flagship in the Asia region. We've also got like Intel's fighting back on the GPU space, and also a lot of value-oriented products that are coming out of China to actually combat some, do better battle with some of the premium brands. And we're also seeing in on that space as well too. Those premium brands like our friend Rob Teller at Height, they're not standing by. They're actually innovating, and they've got a new case, the X50. Uses a different type of
it's almost like
construction,
a bubble shape.
It's a bubble shape
kind of thing, but it's all modular. You can just take things out and put them how you want.
He's telling the industry, try to copy this, right? See if you can do this, because it took them so long. All right, that's it. We've hit our 30-minute limit, and I think it's time to end. So stay tuned for the next season. There's going to be a lot of interviews with some of the innovators in the space. Hopefully you and some familiar faces from last year's Computex as well too, to catch up with them as well too. So from me and Winston, we'll see you later.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.